Okay, I had 8 minutes. Now I have 3 seconds. As I was saying, if this is breaking up into 17 different clips, they're in order. Actually, I'm telling this stuff like I never write chronologically. I hate that. I told you that yesterday, what kind of books I don't like. But if YouTube allows me to clip like four of these together, it is one episode. So this is how weird this place, this uh, channel is going to be. Is what you see is what you get. You see me leaning up against that camera? It's because I got to see how many minutes are on that thing. I don't do this, but I have a lot of value to add to you because I love you. You, as you know, lunatic as it sounds like I just said on the other clip, you're the friend that I never had or don't have to tell everything to honestly without being judged, without being looked at, without being stared down, dressed down, listened to, eavesdropped on. It's just you and me. And that is really weird because there's like a jillion of you. But I don't know. So I'm not going to lean in that camera so much. It's really obnoxious. So the last one I told was the Tom Hanks, which the irony of, you know, him firing me for being too effeminate, but he was playing a drag queen. Second one was this about this mogul, this television mogul, who I knew when he was stuffing shoes into, you know, ladies' fat feet. I'm sorry, no shaming. Ladies' smelly feet into tacky pumps. Hey man, we all got to do what we got to do. I am not judging for that. I did phone stuff. You know what I mean? Back in the day, I did that for a year and a half to survive, to put food on my table. I was Angela. Okay, year and a half I played Angela. And you don't want to hear my girl voice because it is like mega scary. Oh look, some timer's going off. So where was I? So yeah, we all got to do what we got to do, right? You know, I was like playing Angela, and um, it was. You know what? I'm gonna friggin' turn that friggin' timer off. I'll be back in probably 6 seconds. Because I am a Virgo with OCD and I am not digging that timer. Okay, I'm back. Hold on. So, phone interaction to make a living. I was Angela. Let me, like, you know, I don't want to bore you, but I did. You know, I was like, I played Angela talking naughty to men, double and triple shifts, for a year and a half. They weren't abiding by labor laws. I could do like 24 hours. And the trick was to get your 20s, which meant FCC will only allow you 20 minutes per call because back then they were so expensive. I was like, you know, it was like $7.99, $3.99 a minute. So you know what all these people were calling to do. But your job was to clock 20s, which means you get those 20-minute stretches that the FCC allows you, 2 stretches within 24 hours. They trace your call. So you're allowed 2 20-minute naughty conversations every 24 hours. But I was a pro, and I had regulars, and they sent me plane tickets to a P.O. box that the company had, and a stuffed teddy bear, and pictures, and whatever. And I felt bad, you know, I really did actually, because I was wearing board shorts, combat boots, and a tank top with my feet up on the desk with an officer's cut. And I'm Angela, and I've got like massive measurements, and I really don't sound too bright, but I'm really bright. Because why? These 976 lines you could not talk naughtiness on at all. So you had to stretch it out with guys that thought they were going to get naughty, but you on that line could not get naughty, or they shut down the company. There's a second 976 line. How did this get from the mogul to this? Anyway, so the second 976 line is you can be naughty, but you can't voluntarily be naughty. So in other words, the dude, there were some chicks, ladies that were into, the opposite with Angela, but the dudes we know what the dudes were there to do. But on the lines that they couldn't talk it was like, oh my God, it was like nuclear like fusion to try and get them to stretch 20s. I couldn't. Why? Because I convinced those people not to talk about the naughtiness. I got them to talk about their divorce, or whatever. So the second 976 line was okay if they brought up the naughtiness. Then for whatever reason, ask the FCC, if they brought up the naughtiness first, then you could talk the naughtiness. The third line was credit card line. It was definitive that you were over 18, that they weren't going to get they were going to get their money and all that. And those were like $7.99 a minute, and those were the big money ones, right? No, because for that kind of money, a guy wants only one thing, and he wants it as quickly as possible. So those lines were impossible to clock 20s on. It was just a no-go. We had two girl-to-girl lines, and we had two lines that were man-to-man, but we were all girls. So then the girls would have to be men on that line to maintain the boy-to-boy line. And that was some of the most hysterical things I have seen or heard in my life. I'll get back to that later, but bookmark that. The two boy-to-boy lines trying to operate in a boiler room of girl-to-boy lines, phone lines. So I had regulars, I had, like, my regular was Chocolate Thunder, and I had another regular that was Poor Thing, just Poor Thing. I mean, he was a love. And the other guy wanted me to, like, pretend that he was running around in circles on my palm, and that was somehow arousing or exhilarating to him, running around. The other guy wanted me to insert something that is fragile into an area that is a delicate area, and then stomp on that area. You guys, oh my God, you guys. Who thinks of that? Who wants that? If you get what I said, like, oh man, like, you want that? That's your fantasy? Yeah. So that was a year and a half. Where was I going? So we all have to do a thing, right? We got to work. So Mr. Mogul, yada don't sell me, who I knew when he was stuffing feet, pumps, we went our ways. I was a social worker, bona fide, clinical hours, like in the street, grassroots, up in, the whole 9 yards, all the way up to directoring 3 divisions. Coming from nothing.